All right, hello guys. Today we're going to be putting on the Paradox by Design cooling system. I'll be honest, I don't even really want to do this today. I've done one of these before, and it was pretty easy. So I'm going to kind of do something fun this video and figure out, kind of keep track of how long it takes me to do this, because I feel like doing lawn care stuff today, actually, as weird as that is. So anyway, let's start. I'm going to get this Humvee backed out. When you put this on, you're going to spill antifreeze on the ground. I really don't feel like having that in my garage, so I'm just going to do this outside. It's a beautiful day. Let's do it. Oh, also, it's currently, I got to look at my phone to figure this out. Well, I'll cut back in a second. It's currently 10:22, so let's see what time it is when I get this done. All right, so we got the doghouse cover off. That's something you're definitely going to need to do. Easy. Easier for most than it is for me, actually, because I have this radio tray, and I know most people probably aren't running that. But next step is to take these two covers off here. So I'm going to zip these off real quick. While I grab a pry bar, this is probably a good time to tell you what this actually does. The rear part of the motor on a Humvee 6.5 Detroit diesels or the 6.2 does not get adequate cooling because coolant isn't routed to go back there on that part of the heads. So, where is my pry bar? Anyway, so coolant isn't routed to go back there. I am not going to tell you the exact years because I just don't know on this, but basically some of the earlier year 6.2s and I think 6.5s as well, maybe, I don't know, had an issue where they would get cracked cylinders because of this. And actually I don't know specifically what the issue was. Maybe it was cracked cylinders or melted pistons or something, but they would have issues with that type of thing. Bad issues, replace the motor, rebuild the motor type of issues. So this system allows cooling to get back there. Now, I've read that the older, or I should say the newer model engines don't have this issue because they reinforced some stuff in the motor and this wasn't a problem anymore. But this will still help the motor run cooler. And it will, most importantly for me, or what I care about, is it'll allow the fan to not kick on so much. If anyone had, if you've driven a Humvee, you know that the fan is insanely loud and it sucks a lot of power out. Power that you don't already have, really. These motors are not powerhouses. So, ooh, that gasket is going to be fun to take off. So there is coolant back there, but this, I think, allows for more fresh coolant to get back there. Honestly, I don't really know and I don't really care. I just know this will make my fan not come on as much, and it might make my motor last a little longer. Do your own research. That gasket is gnarly. So now, as you can see, I'm going to need to clean that up. So I'm going to shove some rags in there on both, and I'm going to take a die grinder and clean that up real quick. Alright, so I got these cleaned up. They look pretty good. Maybe I could do a little better job on that one. Next step is to drain your coolant a certain amount. So they say you want it so it's completely out of your overfill here, your overfill tank. Oh, shoot. Alright, side note, if you open those first and then open your overfill, it will just start pouring out. I'm glad I backed out of my garage for this. I honestly did not mean to do it this way, but I already wiped out the gaskets, so if I put those things back on, it would not do anything anyway. Alright, well, believe it or not, I caught almost all of it in the buckets, and I will clean up the rest. A lot of it went in the valley of the engine there, so I'm gonna sop that up also. Ay. Don't watch my videos. I don't read instructions. So yeah, if you're gonna be doing this, go ahead and first drain your coolant. At the bottom of the engine there's a drain plug thing you screw, and then take these off. Don't be like me and do it the hard way. But at least I know exactly how much coolant needed to be drained this way. So that's kind of cool. No pun intended. Alright, step 2, once you've correctly drained the coolant, you got to find this fitting on the coolant crossover pipe on the engine. There's this cast color, mine has been painted black, is right there. Take that hose clamp off, zip that line off of there, take this fitting out of there. Hopefully it does not snap. Pro tip, I don't know if you can call me a pro after that whole debacle, but use a 7mm socket for hose clamps. Fits 99% of them, and it's so much better than trying to do it with a flathead screwdriver and getting frustrated. I hate screwdrivers. Everything should just be a bolt head. Oh boy. Alright, step 3, you locate that part and put Teflon tape on the threads. You thread it into this part we just removed, but not all the way, because orientation is TBD. So I'll just kind of get that sucker hand tight. Alright, step 4 is to put the other pieces on as I show it. It says you may also straddle the throttle cable if desired. I think that is desired. I remember on the last one I did that, and that was probably the best way to do it. So I'm going to do that again. Alright. The rest of the steps here are again pretty self-explanatory. My stupid dumb hose clamp decided to break, so I just threw an ear clamp on there because I'm out of hose clamps. So one of two things will happen. One, if I ever sell this Humvee, which is not very likely, somebody's going to have a problem with this, pull over, be on the side of the road with minimal tools, and go, who the heck uses freaking ear clamps? And they're going to have to call a tow truck. Or two, I'm going to have a problem with this line that's going to be leaking, and I'm going to pull over on the side of the road and say, why the heck did I use an ear clamp? And not be able to get that off. And I won't call a tow truck because I'm too cheap, and figure it out 3 hours later. But anyway, so I have these big wires here. I don't think they're routed this way on older Humvees. You can see in the picture it's not there. I don't really remember this on my last one. I think the way I'm going to run it is like this, because I have a small gap. Maybe I'll put a little piece of radiator hose there to kind of protect it. I mean, these wires are under this nice sheathing here, but I think I'm going to run it like that. So this little trim piece keeps coming off, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to leave all this loose, and then I'm going to connect the two hoses that go to
the ports that I took off, covers, whatever you call them, and route these kind of by trial and error and see what I can do. All right, I got those 2 lines routed. The longer one goes on the right. I thought it was the other way around at first, but I can't even begin to explain how I routed these. It's not hard. It's just use your best judgment. Every Humvee's different. You know, they're like snowflakes. No 2 Humvees are alike. But generally, path of least resistance. Try to stay away from sharp edges. And where there are sharp edges or something that would be rubbing, I would recommend take a good old piece of rubber hosing. Doesn't really matter. It could be a garden hose, whatever. And add a little extra protection around the line. You know, these lines aren't made of whatever, something really strong. Kryptonite. I don't know. They can get rubbed through, but it's good. I mean, they're good high quality lines from what I can tell. All right, I started at 10:22. I know I gotta put the hood down and stuff. It is now 11:52. I consider that job basically done. Oh, I gotta dump coolant in there, so let's add another 10 minutes. Be generous, you know. 12 o'clock, so it took about an hour and 10 minutes. I think that's a pretty realistic time frame for most people. Maybe if I did another one right now, remembering every step of the way and how to make this a little easier, I could do it a little quicker. 45 minutes maybe if I really rushed. But it's not too bad. I will say, this is one of the few pieces of Humvee aftermarket that I would actually recommend. To be honest, most of you who watch my channel already know my opinion on most Humvee aftermarket parts. Frankly, most of them are hot garbage. This is a well put together kit. It's well thought out. They give you long enough lines. The AN fittings are quality. Everything seems to work good. It's got good instructions. You know, they even add little extra stuff like this trim piece that isn't working for me anyway, but you know, it's a nice touch. It wasn't missing parts. I mean, it just seems like a good kit, and I can say it kind of stands up to the test of time because I had this on my previous Humvee 1.0, which I daily drove, and I never had an issue. No leaks, no nothing. So, you know, just use common sense when installing this thing, but it's pretty straightforward. It goes together quickly. It's quality parts. It's not Chinese garbage, at least from what I can tell. If it is Chinese garbage, it's well disguised, but I can pretty much guarantee it's not. And I would actually recommend this Humvee aftermarket part. Paradox by Design is not paying me. If I know, I think from what I can tell, this is just some guy who had a Humvee and wanted a better way of doing this, because there were a lot of other ways you could do it that was overly complicated and annoying. So I think this is kind of a one-man shop. I could be wrong, but from my experience, usually those kind of businesses are the ones that are really nice to work with. You know, the big resellers of Humvee parts and stuff. I can't speak for all of them, but I've had some bad experiences. So anyway, highly recommend it. I'll leave a link in the description. They make a kit for the turbo and the non-turbo truck. One thing I will say, I reached out to them asking, can I just put the turbo kit on mine? I assume it just has longer lines maybe. And when I go to convert a turbo, it'll work, or will it not work? You know, what's the difference between the turbo and non-turbo kit? Never got a response. So I just bought the non-turbo one. I guess when I go to put a turbo on it, I'm going to have to spend a bunch more cash to buy another one. So that's kind of annoying, but maybe they'll work with me. I don't know. Either way, I can't complain. It's a good kit. It does what it says it's going to do. Price is a little high. Out of 10, I would give it a solid 9. I'd give it a 10 if the price was a little lower. But, you know, they know they sell good stuff, so they can price it high. I get it. No animosity about that. So, thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you can like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.